Philip Ador, founder of NCLEX RN 45-Day Challenge. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease, which is sometimes called Parkinson's disease, Parkinson's or PD, is a movement disorder where the dopamine-producing neurons in the substantia nigra of the brain undergo degenerations. Parkinson's is one of the most common neurological disorders. It's a progressive adult onset disease, and it gets more common with age. Most of the time, there's no known cause, but in a few cases, there might be a genetic cause, like mutations in the PINK1, Parkin or alpha-synucleic genes, and in rare cases, Parkinsonian symptoms might be caused by MPTP, a toxic impurity that can be found, recreational drug, MPPP, or desmethylprotein, which is the synthetic opioid. In other people, one or more risk factors rather than a single out, right? Because it might contribute to Parkinson's. For example, pesticide exposure or DNA variants in genes like LRRK2. No matter what the causes, Parkinson's derives from the death of dopamine-producing or dopaminergic neurons in the substantia nigra. The name substantia nigra means black substance, since it's darker than other brain regions when you look at the slice of the brain on an autopsy. We usually refer to the substantia nigra as if it's a single location. There are actually two of these regions in the brain, one on each side of the midbrain. The substantia nigra is a part of the basal ganglia, a collection of the brain regions that control movement through their connections with their motor cortex. In Parkinson's, these darkened areas of substantia nigra gradually disappears. Under a microscope, Lewy bodies, which are eosinophilic round inclusions made of alpha-synucleic proteins, are present, the affected substantia nigra neurons before they die. The functions of alpha-synuclein is unknown, as well as the significance of the Lewy bodies, and they are both found in other diseases like Lewy bodies, dementia, and multiple system atrophy. The substantia nigra actually can be split into two subregions. First, there's the pars reticula, which receives the signals from another part of the basal ganglia called the striatum, which is a term for the caudate and putamen put together, and relays messages to the thalamus via neurons rich in the neurotransmitters GABA, also known as the gamma-aminobutyric acid. Second, there's the pars compacta, and this is the part of the substantia nigra affected in the Parkinson's. The pars compacta sends messages to the striatum via neurons rich in the neurotransmitters dopamine from the nigrostriatal pathway, which helps to stimulate the cerebral cortex and initiate the movement. Therefore, when substantia nigra pars compacta neurons die, the individuals might be in a hypokinetic or low movement state, which is commonly seen in the Parkinson's. In addition to simply initiating movements, the substantia nigra helps to calibrate and fine-tune the way that movements happen, which leads to the critical or clinical features of the Parkinson's. First, there's tremors, which is the involuntary shakiness most noticeable in the hands, characteristically called a pill rolling tremor because it looks like someone's rolling a pill between their thumb and index finger. This is a resting tremor, meaning it presents a rest and diminishes with intentional movement. Next, there's a rigidity. What's your first is a stiffness that can appear as a cogwheel rigidity, which is when there's a series of catches or stalls as a person's arms or legs or passively moved by someone else. Rigidity is also responsible for the stooped posture and an almost expressionless face that some individuals with Parkinson's might have. Next is bradykinesia, which is slow movement, hypokinesia, which is less in movement, and akinesia, which is an absence of movement, and all three results from difficulty initiating movements. Example of this is having the legs freeze up when trying to walk and also walking with the shuffling gait or small steps. Finally, a late features of the disease, postural instability, which causes problems with balance and can lead to falls. Despite these multiple effects and movements, Parkinson's disease does not produce weakness. This helps differentiate it from the diseases that affect the motor cortex or the corticospinal pathway. In addition, the resting tremor or Parkinson's disease helps to differentiate more from cerebral diseases, which might result in an action or intentional tremor, which is a tremor that's essentially the opposite of the resting tremor, with the tremor actually gets worse with the movement. Also, both bradykinesia and postural instability help differentiate Parkinson's from essential tremor, of which with action tremor is also a hallmark features of the non-motor brain functions can be affected in the Parkinson's as well, leading to additional common symptoms including depressions, dementia sleep disturbances, and difficulty in smelling. These are thought to come about because of dysfunctions of dopaminergic signaling in other parts of the brain beyond the substantia nigra. For example, in the prefrontal cortex, leading to cognitive symptoms, and also possibly from the issues with other neurotransmitters like acetylcholine. Fortunately, there are treatments that help the Parkinson's symptoms.